Monday morning trading. Let's go. So, had a few things pop up this morning. Been pretty good. Fortunately, most of these have pulled back quite a bit. We just have SEAP coming up right now. I take it. Alright, so SEAC. Coming up on 200,000 shares of volume. Back a little bit right now. We bounce off VWAP. Start bouncing off VWAP and coming back up. Then we've had a few things, other things come up this morning. All back quite a bit. Happen with that. Holding up. Now the break over $1.46 is the buy. Jump over this. Going back. Lighter volume on the pullback, which is good. Now you want to see it turn around, break through $1.46. I want to see. Also, and watching her, but a little high price, so. Spread was like $1. Absolutely. Now if we start pushing up here, got quite a few shares here. A little more than I intended to, but see how it goes when we push up to 140. Like we're getting quite a bit of selling coming that, so sell a few of these shares. And wait for the 36, then we'll buy a few more. Up of 156. 10 seconds left in this candle. We want to see it hold. Now if it comes down through 138, probably sell some through my cost base, but I want to see the break over 153 before we take off anything. Yeah, I'm hoping for a move up here. So on Hampshire is the morning coming. Dan Bab. I mean, suggestions for start trading. I said this before, but I mean, you just like sell off some of these here. You should just like watch anyone you can. You know, anyone who's streaming, anyone who's giving trading advice. Um, I watch quite a few people who trade, all with like slightly different styles. Oh, thanks for the follow, man. Yeah, so I recommend just watching many people as you can, really. So this unfortunately took a turn here. Um, so we're looking for the break over 150. It bounced against 150 and then pulled back down. Down $7 to start the day. Not a super big deal. We'll see if it comes back up. New 5-minute candle just started. See what happens with that. I am fully out of the position. So now the break on the 5 minute is going to be over 153. Break of the 1 minute over 150, but we've had descending highs, coming in on this 1 minute. 1 minute. See if this can hold up now. Push above 150. Struggling a little bit coming 50, popped up through 150. Okay. If it comes back down a little bit, maybe we can take some shares that's coming as it comes down. But unfortunately, on the 5 minute, it started, fairly low on this 5 minute candle. I was thinking if it pushed up through this 5 minute, like at this point, it's already a little overextended as it's pushing up through 155. So that was why I didn't end up taking a buy on that 5 minute. We'll wait for this to make a little pullback and see if it starts popping back up, and we can buy into it once it's a little bit less extended. Yeah, CHPI, I mean, I was looking at it this morning. Or CPHI, right? CPHI, made a really crazy move at 4 o'clock this morning. Started at $1, went up to $3.40. But has now pulled back like all the way back to $1.50. So this would have to come back up over VWAP if I was going to take a trade on it. So I'll show you my charts here. Yeah, this would have to come back up, at least make it over. Started pushing up like close to 7 o'clock here, over $1.80. So it would have to come back up to like at least that level for me to take a trade on it. Oh yeah, definitely. There's solid volume. So we'll keep SEAC, on the charts here, but it seems to be pulling back a little bit. This is, kind of what I was saying before. Candle started at $1.30, then pushed all the way up to $1.53 and broke over this 5 minute high. So, what's going on, House? How's it going? A lot of people here on a Monday morning. Definitely appreciate it. Monday mornings, not the best. Feel a little wrecked this morning. But yeah, like I was saying, so on the 5 minute, it was pushing up to 153. By the time it already pushed over 153, it was already pretty extended. That's about the move that this candle back here made. So, two fairly big moves. I didn't want to take the risk of buying over $1.50 after it was extended so far. So what I was really looking for on the 1 minute, we pushed down to here. I bought coming up through 140. I was hoping for this breakthrough 150 immediately, maybe a push up through 160, and then I was going to take profit as we pushed up through one. But, didn't end up happening. Then I cut the trade as we dropped through 40. An eye on SEAC, but I think it's going to be a little while. We need to see this come up through VWAP. I don't think there's really a super good setup on it right now. The break on the 1 minute now is also the breakthrough VWAP, and if you're buying, into VWAP and on a break, if it turn around pretty hard on you. And the upside of that move right now is, if we break through 145, the upside's about 10 cents. Before we start taking profit, 10-15 cents. So I don't love that. Probably wait on it. What else? When I woke up this morning, I saw everything coming up. I was pretty hopeful for the morning. We had quite a few big moves. UPC just easy. Started this morning at $4.75. And it went up to $27 somehow. Absolutely, absolutely. So I don't know what's going on with this. Any news? Like a biotech company, so it's just like the catalyst. A recent IPO. It is a recent. Well, I guess that's just how it goes. Some recent IPO and biotech. People are gonna buy it. SCAC pulling back a little bit now. We've seen a lot of these Chinese pump and dumps. Last week on Friday, there was like, I don't even know, like 5 Chinese education companies that at like 4 o'clock in the morning went up like 800% and then just like pulled it all back. Seem to be seeing a lot more of those lately. I'm not really entirely sure what's going on with that. Like, I feel like it's a little shady. And one of the main ones that was popping up yesterday and that or not yesterday on Friday on that education pump was also a recent IPO. So these Chinese recent IPOs, yeah, education. I think they're like online education, but I assume they're all just like cheese companies. I don't really think they do anything. I think they're just like yeah, like Chinese pump and dump companies. But if they're pumping at the time that I'm trading, I'm quite alright to trade those. I'll trade anything that's going up. Yeah, Wafu and CLE. Yeah, those are the ones. Still up or probably pulled back. Vast. Yeah, so CLEU I might have been. That's actually not that recent. Maybe Wafu was the one I was thinking of. But yeah, I mean they've pulled back like literally entirely. Yeah, maybe Wafu's. Nope. I don't know which one it was. Yeah, dude, Wafu. Wafu did the same thing. It went from $5 up to $36 in 5 minutes. Like, what is that? They do it on very, very light volume too. Like 50,000 shares of volume for that entire move. I don't know what's going. GameStop looking okay. Saw some crazy Wall Street bets DDs that were like short interest on GameStop's actually over 2,000%. I don't really unsure whether or not that's true, and I don't really believe that, but if it does keep going up, I'll probably buy some more. Yeah, and I got wrecked a little bit at the open. Um, so at the open, I shorted it, and I was looking good down through here, obviously, um, and then on this push down, um, here on this candle, I can't see the candle. Yeah. So I started shorting here. It pulled back, and then when it started pushing down again, I shorted, and then I put on like a little bit more as it pushed down, and then it just like immediately turned around on me. So you know, you win some, you lose some. I thought it was gonna drop, so I cut it early, so I didn't lose too much money, but yeah, I did correct. we'll see if it ends up. We'll see if it ends up coming up or going down today. I still need to adjust the. I feel like I need to adjust the gain on my mic a little bit. I feel like sometimes I don't talk loud enough to get over my noise gate. It's really annoying. Maybe I just need to shift my noise gate back a little bit. But anyway, we'll see what happens with GameStop today. You know, if it goes up, I'll buy some. Um, I don't think I'm going to try to short it again today unless it really starts dropping. I just thought for sure after the bounce the day before that we were going to get a bit of a sell-off. And we did get a bit of a sell-off. It just didn't happen as violently as I thought it would, I guess. So we kind of sold off a little bit, then we pushed back up, and then the actual sell-off came later in the day. So, you know, nothing you can do about that. Sometimes you just you miss the timing a little bit. Check out SEC. SEAC kind of holding below VWAP right now, so not anything we really like to see here. We got UPC on the other chart, and UPC also holding fairly low, much lower than it was this morning. Same thing with CPI. CYAN tried to make a little move today at 7 o'clock, but dropped it, unfortunately. So I don't really know which of these is like the one to watch. I mean, SEAC is probably the one that's closest to actually making a decent setup. From these other ones, oh yeah, there was also HGEN, and HGEN is just I think the price is just a little high. When I was looking at trading it this morning when it was over here, the spreads were just insane. It was like the spread was like 21 by $22. So it was like as soon as I bought it, I was already down $1. And that's it's not really where I want to be on a stock that had just moved up from $15 up to 23, because it could have just as easily dropped from $23 back to 15. Didn't end up buying there. But we got an interesting candle here on SEAC if this closes higher. Closes green, this candle actually looks good. So I'm going to take some shares for the break over 135 here. SEAC. So we put in we put in quite a big tail on this 1 minute candle. Decent green volume, which is good to see. Higher volume than we've seen recently on the 1 minute. And the fact that we put in this tail and it got bought back up is a pretty good indicator. So I bought a few shares for the breakthrough 135, and we'll see what happens here. So it's still under VWAP, so I'm going to keep my stop, very tight on this. But, that candle looked really nice. And, it now triple bottomed on this candle here. So we might be putting in a floor that we're trading off of. We'll see if it can pop back up over VWAP. If not, if it comes back down through 133, 132, we'll sell off our shares. I didn't really take too many. I have 40 shares right now. If it pushes up, and looks strong, and we start coming over 140, looking good, then I'll add more shares to it. DLPN popped up. So coming back down to 32. See if we get bought back up like last time. One second. Yeah, DLPN popped up. Little high price. Looking decent right now. I mean, making a nice trend upwards. We'll see if we can get some more volume coming into it before we trade on it. I was hoping this SEAC, this nice candle here, would cause some buying to come in. Like I said, higher volume, big tail, triple bottomed. So a lot of really good indicators on that for the push back up, but it looks like we didn't get the resolution on that we would have liked to have seen. It looks like the volume just isn't here right now. I'm gonna hold the few shares I have down to 128, and we'll see if we can get this bounce back off 128. Because if we're holding the floor, then we're still looking okay. But as soon as we drop through that floor, then got cut out. Popping up, or nothing else popping up on the scanners at the moment. So we got like, whatever, 8 minutes to 8 right now. So 8 o'clock we'll definitely be watching those scanners. At the moment, not really too much I'm willing to trade. SEAC was looking the best, but at the moment it seems like we are trending back down towards this floor that we put in earlier. And we'll see if we get bought up off of it. The more times we bounce off of this, the more opportunity we have to come back up to these pre-market highs. We want to see buying coming off of this level. So as we bounce up, we want to see more volume. Right, so we see some buying coming off of 128 again. Decent buying, but just not really holding up very. Saw a nice spike in volume, pushed it up like 3 or 4 cents, but it's just not holding. We'll see if it can make it up above 135. But if it can't make it up above 135 on this bounce back up, then I would say that most likely we're not going to be able to hold up above these levels. So give it a couple candles here to try to make a push up. Doesn't end up working out, then we'll cut it and then try to get in a trade later. So just tapped off 135. See if it rejects off 135. If it immediately bounces off 135 back down, then probably cut these shares off. I'll give it the opportunity to try to break through. All the way. So we just bounced off. So I'll probably take off these shares. Not looking too hot. So, on the 1 minute, now we have quite a bit of, essentially have like a wedge form here. So, now we want to see it break out of this wedge, either up or down. If it does break up, I'll probably give it a second to make sure it can hold. Just because it has been a little rough and it is sitting below the top right now. I was hoping, as we saw, like I said before, I was hoping as we saw this candle here that this would break us out of this range that we were trading in, but we didn't get the volume to break out of the range. Consolidating tighter and tighter. Within the next two candles, it's going to have to break out one direction or the other. We'll probably see increased volume in the next couple candles. Got 15,000 shares seller sitting at 134, somewhere around there. Got 10,000 share buyer sitting at 132. So I imagine whichever seller or buyer breaks first is going to be the direction we're going to see this move in. Right now it's kind of just stalemated a little bit, not really too much going on. 3.5 minutes to 8 o'clock. It comes into 8, gotta be watching those games. Just no volume being, literally just sitting completely. See what the new 1 minute candle does. Now this new 1 minute candle is very close to the top of this wedge. Now there's a bunch of buyers sitting on 133. Over 20,000 shares of buyers sitting at 133. Buyers might win out on this side here. So now I want to see it push up, and I want to see it hold these levels, because it's going to hit a whole bunch of sellers coming at these levels. 30,000 share buyer sitting at 135 now. So the buyer is just sliding up their support. I want to see what this does into VWAP. Is it going to bounce off VWAP, or is it going to break straight through? Good. Get a little retest of VWAP. Buy some shares off of that as it comes. This is a lower price stock, so take a few more shares than if we do buy into this. Since, we're looking for, at most, probably like a 20-cent move. I've already probably lost 15 cents a share on this already. Buying it back here, and then buying it back here, then taking another shot at it here. Alright, so now we're getting the pull back down to VWAP again. So pushed up 144, hit 144, now we're pulling back to 138. So now we'll see if it can hold. But, it's pulled back now a few cents from the low of this last candle. You don't really want to see. But if it gets bought up, this candle closer to 140, I think we're still looking okay. Otherwise, then this is just like a false breakout through VWAP, which is kind of why I wanted to hold off buying into it. I thought this may happen. Top line. We still have this floor here. Bounced off of it 4 times now. It's just the upside of this stock is just so minuscule. It's now pulled back below breakout point from before. I don't know if this thing has the buying volume to actually get back to the pre-market highs. It's really struggling every single breakout that it makes. We'll wait on this. Yeah, on the 5 minute, terrible. So on the 5 minute, these three candles actually look pretty good. Big tails on all of them, even though there was dips. They were bouncing off of this level. They were holding it really nicely. This breakout on the 5 minute, and then breakthrough view up, obviously pulled back significantly and even closed below um, the breakout point, which is. And we blew past 8 o'clock. I didn't see anything pop up on the scanners at 8. Keeping an eye on them a little bit, but nothing to see, unfortunately. So these are the stocks that we're dealing with right now. We just gotta try to find some decent setups on them. I'd like this candle on SEAC to stay, relatively tight, but it's got 3 minutes until the 5 minute is up. Um, I was gonna say if the candle stays relatively tight near VWAP here, and then the next 5 minute breakout pushes above VWAP, then I think that would look really good. Now, if this 1 minute candle pushes above VWAP, this might still be a decent place to buy. So we'll watch the level 2 to see if there's any support on the buying side. Got some support at 136, but more resistance at the moment on level 2. UIN selling off. I mean, it already sold off quite a bit. How much more could it sell? So the resistance on the way up right now is seemingly, quite a bit more than the support we're getting. But as I say this, we got 10,000 shares sitting at 137. A few big orders going through, just ripping through this buyer that was holding it up at the moment. Yeah, so it's really these big positions that just like kind of dictate the way these lower priced stocks go. Me buying 100 shares of this stock can't really do too much, but then you see someone's order go through where they sell off 20,000 shares, and it's just like, well, it was looking all right, and then you just completely tore apart the support that was building on the level 2. Now, just over a minute left on this 5 minute. This 5 minute has actually stayed relatively tight, which is good to see. I'd want it to stay close to this level for another minute. We'll see if it can hold below 140 for the next minute. And then if the next 5 minute candle broke up above V, then I think we're looking at a really good setup. But quite a bit of support now. Sitting at 137. 20,000 shares. 20,000 share buyer, 137. It looks like only 5,000 shares sitting on 138 to sell. So it looks like we're going to rip through. So I'm going to take some shares here as it pushes up through VWAP. So I only took 40 shares coming up through VWAP. Now, next 5 minute candle starting in 10 seconds. So now if the next 5 minute candle starts breaking above 144, then we'll take some more shares. We want to see some volume come in. So this last 1 minute candle had decent volume. So switch over to my trading screen right now. So I'm sitting at 40 shares at 140 as we pushed up through VWAP. Now, like I said, this 5 minute, we want to see it start pushing up through 145, 144. If we start coming back down through VWAP, then we'll probably take off these shares. How far will we want to hold it down? So the low of the last 1 minute candle is 137. Yeah, that's probably where I'll hold it down to. Looks like it bounced off of this, previous resistance at 139, which is fine for the time being. Like to see this push back up a little. So, decent volume on this last 1 minute candle. Ended up red, but only moved about a cent. So, good to see some support there. Now, fortunately, at $1.40, we have 30,000 share seller sitting there. So we're gonna need some volume to come back in on this to push it back up. Like someone ripped through it. Few pretty large buy orders just went. People putting on some pretty large positions. The ad point's going to be pushing over $1.42 right now. Holding above VWAP decently well. Bounced off VWAP twice in the last two 1 minute candles. Good to see. A bit more selling coming into VWAP right now. Now that it's 3 candles in a row, we've tapped off VWAP. Like to see a move back up pretty soon. We don't want to keep hovering just above VWAP. Bit of selling coming in. Give it a second, see if it can sort itself out. A 5 minute down on the 5 minute we have down to 133, but that would be falling back through VWAP. So this 1 minute candle just broke down through VWAP. Like this hold above 137. We're holding above 137, I'm fine. If we drop below, I'll probably sell off some shares. Seems to be struggling a little bit around VWAP. Get XBIO pop up on scanners, but has since pulled back, so not too much going on with that. Alright, so got a little buying coming in. SEAC. Just came back up and tapped off 142. So now tapped off 142 4 times. There is 25,000 share seller sitting at 2, which isn't anything too crazy. We've broken through sellers like that previously. In 142 and 143, actually, 60,000 shares sitting there. So we're gonna need we're gonna need quite a lot of buying to push through these levels right now. At 22,000 shares, support at 141. Decent orders coming through, buying, but kind of trailing off at the moment. I think we're gonna have a really rough time breaking through there. Surprised if we get a little bit of a sell-off here, just because of those really big sellers we saw on the level 2. But if we do end up making it through 142, then I think we should get a really nice push up. Should immediately push up closer to 50. If we break through sellers like now broke or tapped off 142 6 times in 7 candles. Definitely holding very close to that level. Pushing up to it pretty nice. Jam Boy No Master. Jam Boy No Master. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Thanks for the follow, man. I really appreciate it. Like I said, you guys being out here on a Monday morning. So I know there's a lot of people who probably wouldn't do that, so I appreciate you guys coming out here and checking me out. Thanks, dude. So now, if we break down below 138, we've triple bottomed at 138 SEAC. We've hit 142 6 times. So if we break down below 138, we have to sell the shares we're holding. If we break up above 142, then we want to try to add more shares. And if we come into 142 and we see a lot of buying, we see those sellers, just getting torn up as we push through it, then we want to buy, preemptively on the push through 142 if we can. So that's what we're gonna try to do. We'll see if it works out. And for right now, I don't see a huge upside to SEAC, but it's really the only thing that's putting in any kind of setup. So it's the thing that we have to trade right now. Just broke through 138. At least taking off half these shares. Yeah, we pushed that 136. We're out right now. When you break through levels like this, we tapped off 142 6 times, which, tapping levels is good. It means that there's, at least on the upside, we're pushing into that resistance multiple times. That means people are willing to buy up the stock. But if you hit it so many times and you bounce off of it over and over and over again, that might mean that there is just a certain amount of resistance at those levels that is insurmountable with the amount of volume that we're pushing. So the fact that we were trading within this 4 cent range for 7 minutes, as soon as we broke one way or the other, it looked like there was going to be a much more long-term move in that direction. So you gotta cut it, unfortunately. You're always gonna have losses in trading. So you just do what you can. Yeah, and unfortunately on SEAC, had a few unfortunate trades back here too. So we bought on the move up through 146. So came up, had 2 candles down, but they were each time got bought up back above VWAP after they sold off. So we bought coming up through 146. It just barely broke through 150 and then turned around on us. So we sold off then. Then waited for a more decent setup. Went for the trade here on the 1 minute. As we put in this nice tail, triple bottomed. A lot of buying coming into this, higher volume. We went for the break of this candle, see if we could push above VWAP. Didn't really end up happening, kind of just moved sideways some more. And then on this last 5 minute setup was the trade that we just took. And we were looking for this, on this 5 minute. Oh, no. It was this 5 minute candle. Yeah, so we had just broken above VWAP. Then this candle. Oh, actually, no. Okay, so this candle was very small, so it was like a fully encompassed candle. And then as it was breaking above VWAP, we took this trade. And then this candle kind of, didn't really do much. It only moved 2 cents, I think. 1 cent the entire 5 minute candle move. And this is what we were waiting for. And we were waiting for a break up through this 5 minute candle and then the move back up towards the pre-market highs, but didn't end up happening. Getting a little bit of a sell-off right now. It's definitely still trading. Definitely still trading in like a range here. It hasn't come back down to this 128 level. But the fact that we've come above VWAP several times now, so pushed up above VWAP once back here, hold it back before the candle was done, consolidated below VWAP for a little while, pushed up here again, pulled it back, and now this is the third time that we've pushed above VWAP and then closed lower than it. So I'd say it's not a good sign that we've done that so many times. Similar to this thing where we tapped off at the same level 6 times. If you come above VWAP 3 times and you pull back each time, it's not super good indicator. As far as volume goes, though, the highest volume candles of the day were all green, so at least we're looking good there. I would wait here, though, to take a trade on this. So now our 5-minute candle pulled back quite a bit. The 5-minute buy would be over 142, but I think the buy over 142 at this point is a little bit extended on this stock. So I probably won't end up doing that. But maybe it'll come back up at some point and give us a nice setup that we can buy into. I think that's a little bit far off at the moment. So GBR just popped up, but doesn't really look like it's doing too much. Popped up on pretty light volume. Not really any active trading going on in it, so pass on that. Look at some of the other stuff we were looking at today. So, CAC here. UPC, 5-minute. Yeah, it's just. We were talking about this earlier, but it seems like in the last few days there's been like those Chinese companies that just get pumped up and then completely sell off by the time the open happens. It happened on Friday with like 4 or 5 tickers. Seemingly also happened this morning. So I don't know what's going on with that. If someone has a bot to catch these moves, you could probably do pretty well right now because the moves are absolutely insane. This thing moved from $4 to $27 in less than 10 minutes. Just absolutely crazy moves happening on these things. CPHI also popped up earlier, but now is pulled back quite a bit. And the last 3 red candles have been on fairly high volume, which is not what you want to see. So a little bit more selling off than we would like coming into this time of the morning. You said you said CYAN selling off a little bit again. So it was also kind of holding a little bit of a range here, holding up, just above $5, kind of consolidating sideways just above $5, and then we got the breakdown through 5, and you could see that these 2 candles breaking down through 5 had higher volume than the previous 45 minutes of trading, hour of trading. And highest volume candle of the day right now is a red candle, which happened back here at 7 o'clock in the morning. So a lot of negatives on this stock, unfortunately. Seems like a bunch of these ones we looked at this morning just. Another thing where it was like I woke up this morning and I was like, whew, got like 4 or 5 stocks that moved up over 50%. We're looking good right now, and very solid. And then most of them just ended up being like pumped at 4 o'clock in the morning within the first 2 minutes of trading, and then pulled back for the rest of it. Just the way it is. GME, not really doing too much, moving sideways. I was talking about this before, but I saw like some crazy DDs on Wall Street bets, and I don't know if these people are like actually know anything that they're talking about or just like completely delusional. It's very difficult to tell at this point. But if it moves up, I'll try to take a trade on it today. But I'm gonna wait until we actually see what's going on with it. How's the overall market doing? Check out SPY. Overall market looking solid. What is this candle back here? What happened there? Spiked up to $404. That couldn't be right. That must be like someone accidentally put in an order up there and it got filled somehow. But I guess that counts as the new high. So I mean, we're still very close to all time highs in the S&P. So I think that the market is looking sufficiently strong right now. So I don't think that should have any detrimental effects on the low flow market in the morning. Price target 403, baby. Buy it. Yeah, every once in a while you'll see like weird stuff like this happen where it's like this couldn't possibly be like real buying, I feel like. I suppose maybe it could be. Someone just put in like a limit order for like 1 million shares. Accidentally like fat fingered zero too many times. Yeah, I mean, I suppose it could have been someone's real order, but I feel like most of the time when I see this, I just assume that something got messed up because it's like the amount, yeah, the amount of money you'd have to spend to move SPY from 395 to 403 is just like absolutely absurd. Yeah, imagine being the intern who was like, "Oops, might have accidentally lost you a lot of money." I mean, if you bought like 1 million shares and then you lost $10 a share on it, that's a lot. That's a lot. Yeah, it could be. It saw this price action. It was like, this thing's about to get bought up. I gotta get in on this, and just bought 1 million shares. Imagine a bot having that much buying power. Which I mean, I assume there is a ton of bots with that much buying power, but God, that's probably so spooky. And being one of those quant guys must be pretty scary because it's like you have to put so much faith into the algos that you're writing. Or it's like you can test them all you want, but it's like when you actually give them a large amount of real money, I don't know. Just you have to have a lot of faith that that thing's gonna work. So you can walk away from your computer for like 5 minutes and come back and all your money's gone. Got MOGO coming up here. Actually, decent looking price action on this. Um, could have went in for that buy over 990. See what it. Logo launches first Bitcoin cashback. So if you get your mortgage through them, you can earn up to $3,000 back in Bitcoin. They have a Bitcoin rewards program. I guess that's interesting. Crypto has probably been one of the biggest catalysts in the last like 3 weeks with the market. I feel like a good portion of the things that have gone up a significant amount have been NFT related and just crypto in general related. But NFTs have been, the new hot thing for the last few weeks. It's probably worth it if you see stuff coming up on NFT or crypto news to take it seriously and look for some buys on it. So decent volume on the first two one minute candles on this. Less volume, half the volume about on this red candle, which is good. Just started a new 5 minute candle, so now the 5 minute buy is up above 1022. 1 minute candle buy is up above 10.10 right now. Even less volume now coming in the candle. Good for another small candle. We'll see what this next candle does. If this next candle pops up above 10, I try to take just a few shares on this, small share size first. Volume like here. Pushing up. So about 10 shares for the break over 10.10. See if it can hold up above 10.20. Seem to have a bit of a sell-off pushing up over 10.20. So we'll give it a second to see if it can reclaim these levels before the 1-minute candle ends. Coming back up to 10.20. Seems to be having a rough time here. 15 seconds left on this candle. Pulls back below 10 now. Pretty bad. Yeah. First I tried to sell and did not get filled. Story of my life. Sink or swim. So I only took 10 shares on that. Lost $2. I was looking for, if it made this break over 10.20, I wanted to see a little bit, if it broke up, started pushing up towards 10.50, I probably wanted to buy as it pushed up through. But it's very difficult to buy on Thinkorswim pushing up into these levels. You don't get filled most of the time. So I was going to wait for a little bit of a pullback and then try to buy in some more. But, it dropped below $10. And pretty much as soon as it dropped below $10, I just sold out whatever I had. So we've seen a bunch of them like this lately where it's just like, you really want the first breakout to resolve, but, a lot of these, even the first breakout just does nothing. So, yeah, just take smaller size at first, cut out as soon as it turns around on you, at least on this 1-minute breakout, buying above. Have the wrong drawing. The break above 10.10 when we bought. It's just like, if this doesn't resolve quickly, then it's probably not going to resolve. So you just gotta bail out. The first breakout, should be strong. If the first breakout isn't strong, then I don't think any breakout that comes after it is going to have any strength at all. So it's just not worth. It's not worth waiting to see if it's going to turn around if the first breakout doesn't even work out. This was the first real pullback that it had. Obviously, this was a breakout on the 1-minute above 9.95, but there was no actual pullback before that happened. So this was the first actually put in red candle. Then it had a green candle that was, fully enclosed by the candles before it. So, we had a wedge pattern forming here. We had descending support, ascending resistance, and then as soon as we break out of the wedge, you want to see the break happen immediately. You want to see that push back up. It should have blown through 10.20. The fact that it sold off going into 10.20, very bad indicator. So, just gotta cut those trades quick. Especially because this is also a little bit of a higher price stock, which is why I took less shares on it. Now we sold off down to VWAP on it, so I don't know if we're going to see this come back up. Don't love the way it's looking. Like I said, the first real pullback on the 1-minute didn't resolve on the breakout, so I would need to see like a lot more volume coming into this if I'm going to take a trade on it. And we just hit 8:30. So now's the time to watch the scanners. After we keep an eye on the scanners for the first minute here, we'll go through some of the stuff we were looking at previously to see if anything is getting primed to make a move. But I have not seen anything, in the last 10-15 minutes that has looked that great. MOGO popping back up again. So just took a bounce off VWAP back up close to $10. We'll see what ends up happening with it. Fairly light volume still on this 1 minute, so I wouldn't be surprised if this immediately turns around and comes back down. That push up was on 25,000 shares of volume, whereas the two red candle pullbacks we put in earlier were both on 50,000 shares of volume. So this bounce up is a little light on volume. Right, so it looks like 8:30. We've come and gone. Been a minute and a half since then. We haven't seen anything pop up on the scanners, so I don't expect anything to come up on news. Until 8:45 probably. Um, so we'll keep MOGO up just to see what happens with it, but still extremely light volume being traded on it. Even lighter volume on this last candle than the previous one. So still looking a little questionable. Okay, so GME selling off a little bit in the last 5 minutes. Last 10 or 15 minutes. Coming down from 182 down to 177 now. So not anything too crazy. I think still up from where it closed yesterday, right? Oh no. Just below where it closed yesterday. A little bit of a sell-off. Nothing to be too concerned about. UPC has pulled back, coming up a little bit, actually sitting above VWAP right now. But the way this stock is trading is a little shady for me, so not super interested in buying into this unless there's like some real strength coming back into it. Otherwise, probably just let this one pass. Yeah, UPC, CPHI, these ones just a little shady. And CPHI is way below VWAP, so that thing's not even close to making a setup. CYAN selling off even more. Those things just tanked from 730 once it broke below $5. I doubt it'll come back up before the open. SEAC. So SEAC is still holding this floor. Tapped off against it. Tapped off of it again. It's $1.28 level that we were trying to work off of last time. But still holding very close to it. Still below VWAP. So negative in that sense. And HGEN, one that I wasn't super willing to trade earlier today. Significantly higher price stock, and when it was moving this morning, back here, the spreads were just completely out of control. It's just, yeah, the spreads were just completely unacceptable. I was thinking about buying, on the push back up to 23 here on this candle that dropped significantly, but I was thinking about buying as it came up through $22.90 here. But as it was pushing, or as it was coming up around that level, the spreads were like, I don't know, the spreads were like insane. They were like $1. It was like $21 by $22. So just when the spread is $1, it's just not something that you can trade with confidence. Even if you think, you can be right on it 60% of the time. Like what is the profit target that you're looking at for that? Because if you buy and you already start down $1, if you're waiting for it to drop another $1, you're down $2. So that means like your upside has to be at least $2 to make up for it. It's just I don't know. I don't love it when the spreads are looking like that. Okay, so we had a few things pop up. We had Naked pop up, and also XSPA. XSPA, one that we've definitely seen before. Naked a little low price for what I'm looking for here. Yeah, Shamshir. I mean, trading off of the floor definitely Definitely a good idea. Just because at this point now it's like tapped off of it 4 times. It's like a pretty set level of support for it. But you gotta watch out because if it drops through there, I have a feeling that it's just gonna tank. So gotta cut it quick. Watch that level 2. If you see the support at 128, um, yeah. If you see like you just gotta keep your eye on the level 2. And if you see that support getting eaten into, you have to cut it before it drops below 128. XSPA, it came up pretty light volume, not really doing too much. Another lower price stock. Yeah, not really too much going on at the moment. We have a MOGO now selling off again. So this is kind of what I was saying before. It came back up, took a bounce off view up, but that bounce was on very light volume compared to what it was trading on before. So it's not super surprising now that it's just completely selling off on higher volume, especially because this first breakout, when you have a pullback, or when you have your first real pullback, and then you fail the breakout, that's just like, that's not a good look. People are gonna see that and just be completely uninterested in trading it after that. So yeah, MOGO selling off. Not really too much to say here. We can look at the daily to see if there was any indicators here that there should have been resistance coming into these levels. Yeah, so a little bit of prior support coming in above 10, but I would say that level that we were bouncing off of, there's on the daily there was really no indication that that would have been a big level of resistance. On the daily it looks like a lot of the resistance is on the way up, closer to 11, pushing up to 11. So not really too much to be done there on the daily to that could have saved us from making that poor decision. But probably still should have been something that I checked before I made a trade on it. Sometimes these things pop up really fast, and if they're looking good, you just have to make the decision whether or not you're going to try to buy in for the breakouts or not. Um, but sometimes looking at the daily chart can save you from making a terrible decision. Um, it kind of makes sense on MOGO that it's getting a bit of a sell off just because on the daily you can see, even just last week it was up above $12 and sold off pretty violently for 3 days. So there's probably quite a few people who are holding at these higher levels who are trying to get out of their position. So not super surprising that we're seeing some selling off on it. Got really much else going on. We had Naked pop up, and I know that this had like a really good. I don't know. I forget what it was. Yeah, maybe when the initial GameStop stuff was happening. This might have been like another like high short float play. But when GameStop was initially going up, it moved from 35 cents up to $3.50, which is just absolutely insane move for 2 days. It literally like 10x'd in price. Um, but like I was saying before, when something 10x's in price and then sells off and goes back down to a third of it, there's probably a lot of people holding up here from $3, and as soon as they see any kind of uptick in price, they're just like, all right, I gotta pull out. Especially when this thing has been trending down for the last month, 2 months. So I'd be weary buying into NAKD here, especially because it also is a very low price stock. And I don't usually trade anything that's below $1, just because you have to take such a large amount of shares on it for it to even be worth it. Because the price targets you're looking at most of the time is like, I want it to move 10%, and 10% is 8 cents. So rather not do that and try to find a stock that's trading well and also a little bit higher priced. SEAC still holding above the floor at the moment. Significantly less volume coming into it though, so we would need a definite change in sentiment for it to get bought up. A lot more buying volume coming into this. We just had a few weeks where it's just like there have been pretty solid initial moves, but there's been really no follow through on a lot of these stocks. Last week, at the beginning of last week, we had two really solid days, and it wasn't even that like super solid days. It was like there was like one stock each day pre-market that was really like moving really nice, but then fell off for the rest of the week. And I know that during regular market hours, there's been quite a lot of opportunity recently. Obviously, the market's been super good, but I only trade a very short period of time into the market open since I have a job other than this, so I unfortunately have to go do that. So I really need some stuff to move either in the pre-market or right when the market opens before I leave for work. Fortunately, we haven't seen too much of that going on in the last few weeks. NAKD selling off. Rising. MOGO sold off under VWAP on fairly high volume, and now just sitting underneath VWAP. So nothing really too much to watch there. I don't know if this thing's going to come back up. Got SCAC over here on the other one. It's kind of just chilling, also moving sideways at the moment. Not really too much to say about that. Yeah, and all these other ones, I mean, it's just they've all pulled back so much, like so significantly that I really doubt they're going to be able to make a move back up before the open happens. I mean, some of these HGEN, it's holding pretty close to its pre-market highs. Very high price stock, or significantly higher price stock than what I usually trade. I could see this doing well into the open, just because it's held its move a lot better than most of the other stuff we've looked at today. MOGO now sold off quite a bit, so it's pulled back 50% of its move. GME obviously always one to watch, so we'll keep on that. Keep an eye on that coming into the open. Really a ton of really good prospects, unfortunately. Really like to have seen MOGO continue up here, but stop dead in its tracks. SEAC coming back toward this 128 price level at the moment. See if it can hold that. Just hit 845. So we keep an eye on the scanners to see if anything pops up now. It's always good, on those. I mean, you should always be keeping an eye on the scanners in general, but around those like pivotal times, like anything 30-minute, 15-minute, hour. See if anything pops up. That's usually when news is going to be released on these. Doesn't look like we're really seeing too much 30 seconds in it. UPC still, the highest gapper of the day, 135% change, but it's just it's like the worst thing when it's like you see something that's gone up 135% and you look at the chart and you're like, I don't know anyone who would be willing to trade this. The chart just looks terrible to me. I guess it is sitting just above VWAP, but I mean that's really the only thing that it has going for it. It came up on a little bit higher volume coming into 8:30, but has since dropped off in volume. Now, red candle the 5 minute is putting in, just doesn't look good. It's really unfortunate. Just going so. Oh, every morning or every Monday morning, I have a meeting at 9 o'clock, so I'm probably gonna dip out early now. Um, most other mornings, I trade and I at least look at all the tickers and stuff until between 9:10 and 9:15. So, um, gonna head out now, but I'll be back every other morning this week. You guys want to just come and chill? Also, check out oliveguardians.com. Got the scanners up there. I run them all day, so if you guys just want to use those and trade off of them, feel free. Hope everyone has a good day trading, and I will see you guys tomorrow.